hello everyone, I have time here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about my speculations, more like hopes and dreams, for Jump Force Season 3. I'll cover some of the movesets for characters I know best, but some of the characters I haven't fully watched or haven't started watching the anime they're from, so bear with me on saying they're good additions and stuff. I'll most likely be going off of other people's recommendations that I've seen. I'm only going to cover a total of 6 animes. Some will include more characters than others, just because there's more characters I'm looking for and also have thought about, thinking that they could make a good addition. Sometimes they're low chance characters, but I still think they'd be cool additions, and I created a moveset for them anyways. So with that, we'll head on to the first section, which will be about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So in total for JoJo, I thought up of 4 characters that could be added, 2 that I know the movesets for best, and 2 that I kinda just have a couple ideas for, but not too many. The 4 characters being Diavolo, then also Jolene Cujo, Pucci, and of course Johnny Joestar, which is my low chance guy, but I mean he'd be an interesting addition, and I have created a good moveset for him. On to the first speculation of JoJo, which would be Diavolo. He's a character I made a moveset for, and he's also the main reason why I decided to make this video. For his first move, it would most likely just be a basic barrage, since every JoJo character already has a barrage included, as well as his stand is pretty fast in the anime, and it would most likely also be a 1-bar barrage due to him rarely barraging during the anime. I'm pretty sure there's only one barrage scene. And then, other than that, it would pretty much just be a basic barrage, probably titled "Shit, You're Finished," since that's what he screamed during one of his main barrages in the anime. Then his second move would be a counter with the same amount of power as Hisoka's Grim Reaper's Quiz, allowing him to both counter ranged and melee moves. It would also be a basic pose where he just activates Epitaph, his hair furlows in front of his face, then when hit, he'd time erase behind his opponent, and will most likely do a chop or impale like he does in the anime. His third move, which would just be an unblockable dash, which would have him just teleport King Crimson behind the opponent on impact, and then King Crimson would most likely either impale or do a chop, most likely the impale though, since that's a pretty famous move for King Crimson. Then after that, his awakening would most likely be the exact same move that he uses in All-Star Battle or Eyes of Heaven, which I'll show on screen right now. Pretty cool move, and I think it would just be a great addition to have Diavolo be able to fight Giorno, and also have his own special interaction when they talk at start, kinda like Jotaro and Dio, as well as just in general, have Diavolo being a fighter would be fun, since King Crimson is a really versatile stand, and he's entertaining to use, and probably be so much fun to play. Next up will be the possibility of Jolene being added, this being a smart move since the Stone Ocean adaptation was recently announced, and she's the protagonist of Part 6, which is Stone Ocean, which would allow for good promotion material and, you know, just in general, it's good to have a Part 6 character when Part 6 is just coming out. I don't know fully how they would do Jolene's moveset, but one of the moves could be a lot like Hisoka's bungee gum, and that would allow her to make her arm into string using her stand ability, then she lasso the opponent, pull them towards herself, and punch them, dealing a lot of damage, or maybe doing a mini barrage. And of course, she would have a basic barrage like all JoJo characters. But other than that, I don't know enough about Jolene's stand to make her a proper moveset. The other Part 6 character I could see would be Pucci, since he's the main antagonist of Part 6. I have a lot of thoughts on Pucci since they could do a lot with him, since he had 3 stands total, either allowing him to use Whitesnake, Sea Moon, Made in Heaven, or a mix of 2 of them, with the use of an Awakening transformation. Sea Moon or Made in Heaven would most likely work best, due to them both being the most interesting stands. For example, Sea Moon's Awakening could be the I only need 1 punch move, while Made in Heaven could either use some form of universe reset, or he could dash around like a maniac and hit the opponent. A lot of people would know how that happened in Part 6 if they read it. Another move for Made in Heaven could be Time Acceleration, which would probably do something like make your ability gauge constantly charge while idle instead of stopping at level 1 when you're just idle. If a mix were to happen, it would most likely be between Sea Moon and Made in Heaven, since both of their stands revolve around gravity, and that may be confusing since most people think Made in Heaven is based on accelerating time, even though it does look like that, it's literally a supernatural black hole, and that's why time goes the way it does around Made in Heaven. If you want the full science behind that, go check out this video on screen. This video will be linked in the description. It's a really good video. But that's all my thoughts on these two, so we're gonna head on to the last JoJo speculation. Well, hope. I don't think this one's happening. For the final JoJo speculation, it easily goes to my favorite JoJo, Johnny Joestar, the main protagonist of Part 7. I would love to see this, mainly due to the fact that he has 4 total acts, but I assume he would come out in Tusk Act 4. Mainly because Tusk Act 4 is the most versatile and has the most moves out of all of the acts of Tusk. So, out of all of the moves that I could see, his main move would most likely be Nail Shots, which would be a ranged ability where he would shoot off 5 fingernails, or he would just shoot off 1, or he would shoot off 5 in a short little barrage of nails. Then of course his secondary move, or just another move in general, would be a barrage ability, since Tusk Act 4 does have the ability to barrage, since it finally grew up and got fists. Took long enough, but after that I could see something like the Wormhole Punch, which would most likely end up working a lot like either Shunpo Pummel, or of course the 6 Powers Finger Pistol move, where he would, instead of instant transmissioning, he would shoot a nail underground, and then he would teleport up to the enemy, and then most likely just punch them, or do a nail slash, or hit them with Tusk Act 4. Then, for his final ability, his Awakening, it would most likely just be Lesson 5, due to that being the big barrage at the end of the series. And of course, since he doesn't have any special interaction with Funny Valentine for it, it would most likely just be a classic run-up barrage, kind of like what happens with Gold Experience Requiem's ability to beat the snot out of everything and then actually kill someone, which is something I love about Giorno gameplay whenever I use it. Kill people. So you can remove the annoying toxic characters that you're fighting, like, not calling any names here, but you can remove them. But other than that, for Tusk Act 4 and Johnny Joestar, I couldn't see too much, other than maybe him having a special looking dash due to him using Nail Glide, as well as Nail Slash could be part of his heavies, stuff like that. And of course, Johnny Joestar can't walk during most of the anime, so they could either make him crawl or whatever at really high speeds. I don't think they'd put him on a horse, so they could either make him crawl, they could maybe try and put him on a horse and just have him walk around like that, or they could go by the end and just have him use spin to keep himself walking, which I think would be great to see in any form that Johnny Joestar could come in, even though his probability of being added is very, very low. For my last little bit about JoJo, I would absolutely enjoy seeing the ability to use JoJo moves as well as have a stand moveset on your CAC, because that's something I really wanted for a while, and I think it'd be great to expand the CAC abilities, because not being able to use a stand kind of sucks, especially when I enjoy using my CAC since it's fun to have my own anime character, even though they're weak and not really meant to be used during ranked matches or anything. But it'd be fun to just have the ability to use a stand version of my CAC, most likely with just an energy-based stand, kind of like the Sword CAC. But other than that, we will move on to the next anime, which will be My Hero Academia. For My Hero Academia, I only have one true hope or speculation that I'm really excited and hoping for, which would be Tomura Shigaraki. I think the addition of a villain for My Hero would be great since we don't have one yet, as well as he could have a pretty good moveset with how he's appearing in the anime recently. So, for the biggest one would be the fact that he would most likely have a dash move, a lot like Killua's Lightning Palm, or a lot like Rasengan or Chidori, something like that. And then he would run, he'd dash, decaying the ground below him, and then he would hit his opponent, throwing them into the air or throwing them forwards. Another move would most likely be an unblockable grab, a lot like Crimson Lotus Arm. He would grab you by the face and then decay your face a bit and then throw you away, something like that. Then his last move would probably be a lot like Dragon's Breath, where he would put his hands on the ground and decay the area around him, and if you were standing in it, you would also get decayed. Then his final ability, his Awakening, would most likely just be a combo where he beats you up and decays you a bunch and just does a good amount of damage. Something like that. Tomura would be a great addition due to him having a very, beautiful style. I just love his villain costume and just all his abilities overall. He could be fun whether or not he's at his max power like he is currently in the manga. But I am sure he would be a great addition, as well as just any villain from My Hero, like Dobby or someone like that. I don't see Toga coming due to the fact that her outfit has already made its way into the shop, so you can buy her outfit, and that's going with the outfit theory that if an outfit has appeared in the shop, you will most likely not be getting that character, except for one, which is in my speculations for Hunter x Hunter, so stay tuned for that one. But that wraps up My Hero Academia, so now we will head on to the next speculation, which is Hunter x Hunter. For Hunter x Hunter, I see two total possibilities, one of them being Kite and the other being Phaeton. For Kite being my first edition, I think he'd be a good idea since he played a prominent role during the Chimera Ant arc, and his Nen ability has some cool quirks to it and could actually be pretty fun, especially depending on how they decided to do it. There's multiple ways they could do it, so let's get into them. Sadly, not many of the 9 roles that he has were showed off during the anime, but what they could do, for example, is they could have it kind of like Yugi or Kaiba's draw, where he could use one of his abilities and then it would proceed to take one of the random options and then you would use it. So like either the gun or the club he used to fight Pito. Or, for example, he could also have the Scythe in there, but I assume that his Scythe would most likely go to the Awakening, due to that being his most powerful seeming one that we've seen. So that would probably end up being an Awakening. Or they could split them all up into being one's the gun, one ability is the gun, and one ability is the club, and then of course the Awakening being the Scythe. For Phaeton, the only reason I could see him coming is because yes, his outfit was leaked to be added, but we don't know how it's going to be added yet. So the way it could be done was his outfit could actually be it being transferred to the CAC from his DLC version of the character. So that's the way I think he'd be possibly added, and that's why I think he might have a high chance. He'd also be really fun, so his moves could be a lot like Kiai's, and also his Awakening, probably would be that Sun move that he uses during the Chimera Ant arc. I'm sure his moveset would be a lot like Kiai's though, just being a lot of sword dashes and sword attacks, since he does use a sword a lot during it. That's all for Hunter x Hunter though, so now it's time to get onto the animes I don't know nearly as much about, but we'll start off with Demon Slayer. Due to me not having watched Demon Slayer, I can't say too much on who would be added, but I just assume it would be Tanjiro due to him being the main protagonist of Demon Slayer, as well as just the fact that you're not going to add other characters unless you have a main protagonist in there, I'd assume at least, unless that's what Bandai Namco wants to do. But so far it looks like that's probably what's going to happen, especially since Demon Slayer is such a big anime right now, and I assume that Season 2 is going to be great, and I'm planning to watch it really soon, but other than that, I don't have many thoughts for Demon Slayer. As I said, I haven't watched it, so I don't really know. Now that Demon Slayer is done, we're going to head on to Jujutsu Kaisen. Once again, when it comes to Jujutsu Kaisen, I can only really see one character actually coming, and that would be Itadori, of course, and also him with a mix of Sukuna due to them being the same person. But I haven't fully watched Jujutsu Kaisen, I have only really just started it, but it is seeming really cool and I would love to see some Jujutsu Kaisen representation into the game. Gojo would be a great addition as well, but I don't think they would add him yet simply because they don't have the protagonist of the show. But if they do add more Jujutsu Kaisen characters later, I can absolutely see Gojo being an addition. I'm sure that if they did Itadori, he would have a switch during his awakening where he would switch to Sukuna, most likely giving you new voice lines, a new voice, and just a new look, of course. Other than that, I haven't seen too many moves from Sukuna or Itadori, so I can't say too much on how the moveset would work for either or side, or whatever they plan to do with the mix of them, if they decide to add him. And now onto the last anime I know nothing about, which will be Black Clover. I've not watched Black Clover yet, but I've heard a lot of people talk about these two editions, and a lot of people are interested in Black Clover editions. So, out of the people that I've heard that are being mentioned to be added, these are the two that I think would also be good additions, just from what I've heard and stuff like that. In my opinion, the two good options would either be Yuno or Captain Yami. I haven't seen either of them do anything, but most people are saying that those are the two from Black Clover that they would want to see. So either or of them would probably make a good ad, just from recommendations. And from the people that I've seen, they're pretty smart when it comes to good additions, so I have faith in them, I guess. Now that that's said and done, we are all done for the 6 animes and all the characters that I think would be a good addition. Tell me what you think of the list in the comments, and leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want to. I don't really know, but I don't want to keep you here for too long, so enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.